my upgrade. I didn't really think I could be crazy, did you? Should help. Rock, shock, and rock. Upgrade secured. Double timing it. Double timing it.
They try to destroy me. Watching here. I've elevated my skills.
ばれし者、やがて星の支配者となる。
俺たちの敵はかつて英雄と呼ばれた男、セフィロスだ。奴は星を滅ぼすほどの強大な力を手に入れようとしている。悪く思う。
お前たちはここで死ぬ。だが悲しむことはない。星に帰るだけだ。
何が起こってるんだ。
セフィロスとは逆らぬ因縁が。私も行く。
クラウドは大丈夫だよ。今度は私が守るから。任せて。みんなが好きなんです。だから守りたい。
理由によ世界は交わり融合する。
セフィロス。
何があっても一緒だよ。みんな大丈夫？
行くぞ。
いいな。ソルジャーはいろんなところに旅ができて。
旅か。そんないいものじゃない。ただの移動だ。
でも刺激的ではある。
お見逃しなく。
This time will be different. Got my upgrade. Let's see where it takes me.
That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet. You hardly have to aim at that. The kids escaped and raised a huge ruckus. Guards were everywhere looking for him.
Can't let the kid get away.
I had to jump from roof to roof like a damn alley cat. I followed the planks where I could, but some of that wood was slippery as hell. The whole town was up in arms. Suddenly, I was a fugitive. So that bastard you were after, what did he do? He did me and my family a grievous harm. But I knew if I was ever gonna find him, I would need to get my ever-loving ass out of there. Ah!
This town doesn't have a moment's peace.
The windows, lock the door!
Get off the street!
Get the windows, lock the door!
Get off the street!
Ah! You! But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. Oh! Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
You get to go to hell.
Let's do this.
See, me and the kid shared a certain similarity in build and coloring. I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass shotgun. So much lead was whizzing by my head, it was like everyone in Lincoln wanted to put me in the ground. I knew I needed to find a horse. Though I never did have a great fondness for those full-legged grass eaters. Smelly, sweaty, ungrateful beasts. We prize them too high, if you ask me.
But where was the kid while you were busy getting shot at?
Gone. And that's when it occurred to me why Billy set me free. So I could be a hapless decoy and draw attention while he snuck out of town. I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead?
No, because they all thought I was Billy. And all that blame would fall on him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean-ass shotgun.
Get the women off the street. Let's just do this.
found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of town.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Well, sure he did. He dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. "Hello, Bob," I said. "I think you better let me go." And he says, "I don't think so, boy. Not with my shotgun." So we stood there in the middle of the street, eyeball to eyeball. He intended to kill me, and I knew I had no choice but to defend myself. Some say I fought unfairly, but they weren't the ones looking him in the eye that day. Pat Garrett gunned down Billy 3 months later, so his escape was all for naught anyway.
So where'd you go after Lincoln?
Mexico.
So was the bastard you were after now riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo. I came upon them robbing a stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being they were such murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red scarves, so I knew they worked for the old man. I did my best to help those poor bastards. Moments later, the attackers were dead. And I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing. None. It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did. They would appear in great numbers from above and rain down lead on their hapless enemy heads, making use of the high ground and whatever else they found. Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to it.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle, but I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force. See, at the time, I was still pretty green, but often blunder in incredible situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboy. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to find my way past these other assholes first. Unfortunately, I was running out of ammo. Another perfect example of my relative inexperience as a hunter of men. I immediately knew that a tactical retreat was called for, as my vengeful fury was much less impressive without the bullets to back it up. was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim. Luckily, serendipity was on my side as I suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament. I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after me. Bullets were whizzing by my ears, but I wasn't about to roll over and die. I just kept running like there was no tomorrow. Because there wouldn't be if Clanton and his men caught up with me. As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought, what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this? I just kept running, not knowing where the hell I was going. And that's when something miraculous happened. Like manna from heaven, I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition. Pat Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good, and he would know. And imagine my surprise when I found a fistful of dynamite to go along with that ammo. That stroke of good fortune evened the odds and bolstered my confidence. It was time to turn the tables. Time for the prey to become the predator. Time for the hunted to become the hunted. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it.
Right where you are. That's right, Jack. I was done running. The old man's boys were not expecting that. No, sir. It was finally time for that old man to pay for his sins. I yelled out at the top of my lungs, "Clanton, I'm coming for you!" A little stealth might have made more sense, to be perfectly honest. Because that old fool had a Gatling gun and enough bullets to last him till kingdom come. But I knew I could not let that deter me. Not if I was to find and kill Ringo. I needed to get that old man off that gun. Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me. Apparently, one of the cowboys made it out of there alive. and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps, and that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral. A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear.
What exactly did Johnny Ringo do to piss you off?
Well, him and that other bastard.
Roscoe Bob Bryant?
Yep. They both deserve to die, and I promise I'll tell you why. First, I need to tell you about the Cowboys' new boss, Curly Bill Brocious.
Earp's coming!
Get ready, boys. Curly Bill took charge of the Cowboys upon the old man's demise. And after that gunfight at the OK Corral, the Clantons wanted revenge. So they murdered Morgan Earp and grievously wounded his older brother, Virgil. Wyatt and Doc went on what became known as the Vendetta Ride, hunting those outlaws down. So when I showed up, that's who they thought I was. There were killers around every corner, all wearing red bandanas. That's how the Cowboys identified each other, and I was beginning to wish I had one myself. But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed. And that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday.
That Lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
What's that, Dwight?
After old man Clanton died, why didn't his son take over the Cowboys?
Because Ike Clanton was dumber than a box of rocks and a yellow belly to boot. Now, where was I?
Taking down the entire cowboy gang single-handed.
Indeed I was, Jack. It wasn't easy, as those boys had good cover. There were carts everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else for people to hide behind. That really was one hell of a sawmill. Quite an impressive operation.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
I'm about to get to that, Ben. Patience. I'm painting a picture here. There was this beautiful waterfall and a crystal clear stream that led to a verdant valley that was truly...
Consider your picture painted. What happened next?
Well, finally the bastards that were still alive made a last stand. Curly Bill, Johnny Ringo, and his compadres took off into the lumber yard, and I followed after.
Are you saying they ran? Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
No, sir. I never said they were running scared. They just wanted me out in the open.
Time to dance with the devil! You working for Wyatt Earp? That sucker! God, kill me! See you dead!
Atrocious gave me no choice but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
I knew you didn't kill Ringo, because he was found dead in a different location altogether.
To this day, his killer is still unknown.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him. That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy. But the legend ain't always true. Doc Holliday had nothing to do with the death of Johnny Ringo. I was paid a healthy bounty for Ringo and Curly Bill. I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant. And hunting Plumber looked like a good way to get rich quick. As the local vigilantes exposed him as the leader of the bandits and put a generous price on his head. Plumber rallied his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape. And that's where I thought I'd find him. My late father pointed out to me more than once. God made men. Samuel Colt made them equal.
Do you know who we are? Time to blow your shit up.
I knew that dynamite wasn't mine, so I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches. There were thieves and killers, robbing travelers and hijacking gold shipments. Like those who ran with Plummer. some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings. Charlie Crow, the blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's sons. Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh, Antietam. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach. I was outnumbered and in way over my head, but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. They must have thought I was tough, or had some kind of death wish, seeing as there were barrels of gunpowder everywhere. I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way. Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts can be as deep as hell. A single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion. Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come. With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what he's shooting at. It takes is one tiny spark, and boom.
Thank you! Show yourself, coward! Time to die!
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube. One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube. I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly precise. it's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it. Instead, I spotted a ladder, a way into the mine from the opposite side. It was a long way around, but that approach seemed more sensible at the time. Of course, being I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution. I was determined not to give up, however. That Sheriff Plummer seemed quite a despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water. But first, I would have to make a choice. Take the elevator or climb the ladder. I picked the more convenient and more dangerous route. Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own. Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was gonna take some doing. So that's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold. And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
So, did you finally go after the...
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no different. I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wisdom.
I thought the Texas Rangers got heart.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. Holding a witch's tit and a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres. The very same saloon we're sitting in today. Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me, and... Wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men. Fathers and husbands, brothers and sons, men with families who cared about them. He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town, and I was hoping Bob was among them.
God damn it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
They didn't ask why I was there. They knew. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friend. Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head. Some were hightailing it into town to inform their FA of my unwelcomed presence.
Bastard! Let the boys know we got another law dog.
I wondered if Bob was among them. And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better. Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers. Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration. I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon. Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me. In fact, I felt a certain hostility.
Are you kidding me? Get out here!
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West. I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him. No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it. That man was faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back at a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Thank you, darling. Yeah? A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickled the nether regions of heaven. Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution, and were more than willing to die for him. They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down. It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated there. I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout. A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness. See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the wall.
How big was this cave?
Big as hell, man. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian War. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones. I was married to 2 Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the Cave of Death. I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows. And I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
you will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow. I had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
As his story unfolded in my mind,
you will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rain. I have no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that. As his story unfolded in my mind,
you will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow. I have no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
Snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
As his story unfolded in my mind,
you will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul will have no rainbow. I have no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk. swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle. I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, really. I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounding me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them. And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes...
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always riding him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeyville just to shut her up.
Right. It's always the woman's fault.
Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property. The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? Have I fine?
He paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.